We are recording and we are live, and I'm so excited. I'm Stephana Johnson. Welcome to Powerhouse Leaders Podcast. Today, we have a very special, gorgeous guest. Her name is Katia, and I am really excited I'm just going to turn it over to her because she knows how to lead more than just a business, but she knows how to lead on the floor and in different ways. And we are going to learn so much together. The way I do things with my podcast, as you can see, we have video with us, but I found out doing some interviews, podcasts first, that the first 15 minutes before we started recording were the most exciting and fun. And then we'd end the recording and then we'd get into all of this fun, juicy stuff afterwards. And that usually was the best. And that's what I want to share with my audience. So you get to have us live, unedited, uncensored, and we're just going to go for it. That's what makes this so exciting and so much fun. So if you have questions and you're in the Facebook page, you can actually drop some questions in there, comments if you like. But otherwise, I'm just going to be with my guest here and we're going to have fun. If you need to beam in a question to me, maybe you just energetically ping me with something. Otherwise, I'll try to keep an eye, but we're going to go right to us. So without further ado, first of all, I know you speak 3 languages, and I am a huge fan of languages. Of course, French, most want to speak French. I have not been able to master it, but it's something that I would love to do. So tell us the 3 languages you speak and which one you're going to share with us today.
So as a French native, of course, I speak French, right? This is my my natural language, and of course I learned English, so I speak English. But as a business coach, I joke a lot. Then I speak the language of money, right?
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I know. And as businesses, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we forget that we are in it to make money. We are in it to serve. We are in it to give value and all of these things. But if we are not making money, it's just a hobby. It is not a business. And we have a tendency of not talking about money. So I thought then I would put it right in my bio saying, this is the language that I speak. That way, usually that's kind of the first question who comes in. And then we really break all barriers and we can have a more fun time. So that's the reason why I have that.
I think it's perfect. I absolutely love it. And I love this idea because as I talk about money, I talk that it's the energy of money, but you're right, it's a language as well. And so just like with language and energy, it is a way to communicate. It is a way to collaborate and to translate and to create. And it's so beautiful. So that's what I want to play with you on the dance floor now. So let's just pop right into it because you just had a book come out and it's on one of my favorite topics, dance generally, but you happen to be an Argentine tango expert. And so tell us that, just give us what I'd love, if you wouldn't mind, is to start kind of at the beginning and give us maybe some of the vulnerable points that were catalysts in where you are right now.
So one of my hobby is Argentine tango. It became my hobby over 10 years ago, and it became more than my hobby. I really was addicted to it. There was an addiction to it. There was all about connection, all about the music, all about being on the floor, connecting to not just your partner, the music, but everything else around you. And there is a lot of rules. There is a lot of códigos, a lot of codes that we have to observe. And I loved it so much, and I started to teach it. And then I was very, very lucky to 2 years ago, I was one of the performer at the International Argentine Tango Summit in Los Angeles, and I helped judge the competition of Argentine tango. So one of the things, then why did I bring it up to my business, right? and why did I write this book, is I see so many similarities. It's Argentine tango, it's not just only about connection. It's nothing than what you see in Dancing with the Stars, right? Dancing with the Stars, it's all like apart, and it's a ballroom dancing, and it's beautiful. Argentine tango, it's truly the opposite. You're really within each other. You have an abrazo, you have the embrace, you have the connection with your partner. But what you have also, it's all improvisation. And when you see this woman dance on the floor, I always say she looks like an angel, right? But why does she looks like an angel when she dances? Her eyes are closed. And I mean, she looks like she's flying. And the reason then why she's able to really show that is because she has some fundamentals. And the fundamentals are basic walking. And I know it sounds really silly. So a lot of people, when they're like, they used to come to my husband and I teach it. And when they used to come to our class, they're like, oh, you don't understand. I have 2 left feet. And we're like, well, are you able to walk since, do you walk? And they're like, yeah. And it's essentially walking. It's basically 2 people walking in a different direction, right? One is walking forward and the other one backward. And yet together, in unison, they never really step on each other. Why? Because they listen to each other, they connect with each other. It's absolutely beautiful. I could talk to you, Stephana. I mean, you can see probably the passion that I have, and I could go on for hours about about it.
It's so beautiful to hear you speak about it. So let me ask you a few things. First, you share with your husband doing that, so that's even more beautiful. And you have firsthand experience of this collaboration. But you said the word, probably in French, the embrace,
Yes.
within each other.
Yes.
This unison. And I love that, because I think that that's where the synergistic, well, you of course have harmony going on, but the synergy that's created is profound. I mean, just of course, hearing you talk about it, and then for you to say you're addicted to it, but looking at something to be addicted to, how fabulous. Something that,
Yes.
that feeds you and nourishes you in such a wonderful way. Okay, so now tell us, how does this intertwine into, you mentioned one's going in one direction, the other's going in the other direction, but they are in harmony, they're synced up. So they're not walking all over each other. So is there a leader? Is there a follower? Are they both? How does that work?
Yes and no.
Okay.
At the beginning, we always say yes. But the more you grow into the dance, and the more it's a discussion. There's no more leader follower. It's a discussion between 2 people. It's a conversation. And it's basically one saying, I really love this, on this piece of music, I love the violin. I want to go in this direction. Do you agree with that? And as the follower, you either agree or you're like, no, you know what?
But
Right
no
now,
words. No words have been
no
spoken.
words, no words.
Yeah.
It's all you, with your intention, with your energy, with your feet, the way, are you, if I like the piano versus the violin on this piece of music, of course, but it requires, again, the fundamentals of understanding and knowing the music, right? Because you can't really have a conversation with someone if you don't know the subject. And this is where you use the word, there's a synergy, it's profound, and it's addicting, yes. But I bring all of this into the business. When I am with a client, when I am on what people call a sales call, it's never a sales call for me. It's pure connection. Connection, human to human. And do I have a solution for your problem? The person with the problem going backward, and me coming as a business coach going forward. And there is that synergy. There is that that beautiful connection on, hey, I have the solution for you. And if you want it, if there is a good connection, if we see then there is something, then we can continue that synergy and continue dancing on the floor, which is, let's work together. Does that make sense?
Yes, for sure. For sure. It's absolutely beautiful. Have you always been a business coach?
No, I actually, I came here 20 some years ago to work for the hairdresser who was at the White House at the time. That's how I came in America.
Okay.
And then I kind of wanted to move away from that. I came in North Carolina and
Well,
worked.
go back to the White House for a moment. So what were you doing for the person who was the hairdresser at the White House?
I was working, we were 18 people who came from France. We were chosen, out of a bunch of people to come to work for him because we were going to have the name behind it, right? And the celebrity and all of that.
So you did hair?
I actually did hair. I came
Oh,
as
okay, beautiful.
And then, I mean, both of my parents are entrepreneurs. They both had very, very successful business. So very quickly, I wanted to, build a hair salon, and that's what I did. I had a very tiny hair salon, but did very well, made good money. And then I decided to open a spa, and then the spa for 2 years worked. Right at the beginning with the influx and the economy was doing well, and then literally it went 3 years down, down, down. I had to close my door, and I took it very personally. I was the failure, right? Not the business. So all of the great things that had happened before were totally erased, right? We come with all of our own stories. We come with our voices in our head, and when I closed, I decided I never wanted to hear about businesses anymore. I don't want to have anything to do with business. So I went back to school, and I always wanted to be a photojournalist. So I got my bachelor in fine art, and I got published. I did very well. I contributed to many stock photos, sold many, was very successful. But then something happened when I was there. And I was with all these amazing artists, right? There were graphic designers and photographers, and who knew so much about their craft and who knew nothing about business. And I was just like, oh, but you should just blah, blah, blah. And it was just coming back and coming back. Yet I couldn't really look at them into their eyes because I was getting these imposter syndromes, right? My business had just fell. How on earth can I go ahead and have this way of wanting to show them? So I decided to hire a coach, and wanted to figure out. I took about 6 months to figure out, why did the spa not work? What was so different about all the other businesses than I knew, than I had before, who made this one not work? And then when I figured it out, I was like, I never want anybody to go through that, because it was such a tiny mistake who made all of the difference. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is so much what I want to do. I just want to teach people how to run a business. And I have, of course, with a lot of experience now, I really use the tool of, we need to reach a bigger market. We need to put ourselves in how. Like, I believe that none of us are in competition with each other, because we are all so different from each other, right? There's no competition. How do we make ourselves being so different? What is the gift that we have? And I found that through speaking. So I do teach my client to use speaking to reach a bigger market. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I love it. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing the history. To me, that is what is the best for someone to be listening to this. The up and coming leaders, and even leaders who are at wherever they are, whatever level of business they are, to be able to hear an honest experience from someone else, and to hear about those times that weren't perfect and what you did to get through them, I think are the most valuable, And so that point where it's interesting how you were basically, you said you blamed yourself, not
Oh, yes.
And that actually colored everything you did with, we have these terms of the imposter syndrome, et cetera, but it basically colored the way you looked through everything in
Yes.
those moments, even though you knew you could bring something to another's and really help them and improve. So it's fantastic. Now, of course, I'm a coach as well. And so we know coaching, I wouldn't be without my coach in the different areas that I want to excel at. I have master coaches in those areas. And as yourself being a coach, clearly we both endorse getting a coach, but you want to get the right kind of coach because, one of the things that I say is we get through, I'll just go right to the support step, but all of us need support. But sometimes that support shows up, or we look for support and then we receive it, but that support is actually more betrayal. And when I say that, I know that sounds really strong, but there's a lot of confusion around getting the right support. And I wonder if you could give us some insight, and maybe we could do a little dance here, bringing in this.
I love dancing, Stephana. I would be very happy to do. I lead very well too, so I do both.
So let's just say someone is wanting to, they're new on the dance floor, and let's say business is our dance floor, and they're out there. And like you said, with this woman who came and she felt, well, I have 2 left feet. And you just said, can you walk? Well, it's probably what you do with speaking too. Now that I'm thinking, you probably say, can you talk?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, right. So I wonder if you could give us some insight around, because look, not everybody is you and your husband to teach someone to do Argentine tango. And one person could go and experience a coach or a teacher and fall in love with, and you've been saying Argentine tango. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, I've been saying for years that, so I'll say Argentine tango now. That sounds so strange to my ears. Argentine tango, and love it. And then another could come to it with someone who's telling them in a different way. And it's very, it makes them repulsed.
Yes.
And it's so interesting that we can have totally different experiences from something that potentially is so beautiful and is neutral.
Yes.
Right? So business is neutral, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, everything
brought to it and how it's cohesive. So I'm just going to turn it over to you because I think you understand what I'm asking.
Yes.
So if someone's new coming, what would you say to them? What do they need? What should they be looking for in order to take that first step in business and lead their own business, especially when maybe they've had losses and maybe they are fearful and they have the imposter syndrome? What could they do?
I think it's, I love the way you ask the questions. It's all about connection. It's when I have a client or a lead or a student, we don't teach it anymore. But when we had the student coming, it was all about connecting with them, making people feel comfortable. I think one of the misunderstanding, whether it's in coaching or it's in dancing as a teacher, people teach sometimes because it's their ego. They want to feel superior. Something in coaching, something in business, right? I always want to know, why are people in business? Because a lot of time we bring our shield, right? We bring our own stories. Business is neutral, like you said. Money is neutral. Money is a currency. There's no negative, no positive. The way you look at it, the way you bring up your own story, the way you were brought up is going to show how you feel about money. Something in business, something with coaches. You maybe heard the story, or you heard of someone, or you had an experience with a coach who makes you say, coaches are not good. Coaches are whatever story that you brought. There's nothing positive or negative. It's if you come with the right attitude, if you come with the really wanting to learn, wanting to get something, being coachable, being teachable, in every single circumstances, you will always get something out of it. Does that make any sense?
It does. And you're incredibly generous in saying that. I think you're right. That generally you will always get something out of any experience, even when we call it negative. And let's go back to connection. And I'm curious, do you have a mantra or a saying that you use and that you live by or lead by?
I do. So every morning before I start anything, so I have a little routine in the morning, right? I have my quiet time. I'm very spiritual. I am in my Bible. I pray. I pray for my client. I pray for everybody's and I'm going to come in contact with, and I put an intention for my day, right? And then I go into my office. Before I do anything into my office, I read a list. And it's who is the person who achieved this amazing thing. Who do I want to show up as? So I have a list of this amazing thing that I want to do. And how do I need to show up to be able to achieve them? And truly it's a list. It was very easy, like I have it in front of my desk. It's who do I show up as? And that's truly a great mantra because I have to read those aloud, right? I have to read that list aloud. And
so let me just get this now. You have an idea of who you want to show up as.
Correct.
Okay. And then your list is the attributes or the traits or the virtues of that person. Is that correct?
Correct.
So maybe right now in the present moment, you're not the whatever that is.
That's right.
But you are choosing to embody that and show up with that and connect to that through your intention.
That's correct. I can give you a very easy example of this morning. Always this morning, I came downstairs. I knew that I was going to have video starting 2 p.m. on, right? But before that, I didn't. And one of the first thing on the list is always shows up on brand with hair done, clothes, and jewelry that look great and convey confidence. Well, this morning at 8 a.m., I arrived in my office this morning, was 7:36. I definitely didn't look that way. What did I do? I actually read the first line aloud and I was like, yeah, no. So I went back upstairs, changed, and then came back downstairs and finished the list. Because I want to show up that way. When I show up that way, it makes me be different.
Yes.
And this is kind of the mantra. When you read these things aloud, it's, I know then drink plenty of water, eat healthy food. It's a reminder then, oh, wow, I didn't have my water. So I brought my 2 water with me downstairs, So these little things, Stephana, really help me to connect with the person that I want to show up as. And when you show up as like that, you become this.
Yes, you are that. You are connected to that. That is so gorgeous. And I when I hear this, I just want to have everyone feel this and know this, because that is as simple as it is. You don't need to go buy some pill or potion or something to make you that. You just embody it. You just connect with that. You just set the intention, as simple as writing it down and then stating it. Yes. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. What a beautiful ritual. Beautiful. It could translate to any relationship, couldn't it? It could translate to your spouse relationship. How do you want to show up? If you both know that you want to have this kind of a relationship, then you show up. And what would it take for you to show up as that best version of yourself? Yeah, I love this because, of course, this is what I do. This is fundamental to what I do as a coach. So to hear you implementing it and to know you're living it and breathing it and benefiting as a result makes my heart full, because this is what I know for every human being could shift that just from these little simple things. And you keep using this word connection. And I
Yes,
want to tie it into, it's beautiful connection out, but you are connecting with yourself first.
yes.
Yourself now, but also your future self. And there's so much science that has shown how the future self, sometimes we are disconnected from our future self.
Oh,
And
I'm
when
very
we are,
connected with my future self.
you are so connected to and I feel that. And then anyone around you can feel that vibration, can feel that energy, the currency.
Yes.
It's alive, it's flowing freely. There's
Right.
something very delicious and beautiful and rich about that. Just like when you see and hear this beautiful music and dance together in this harmonious, beautiful, connected way.
Yeah.
That's what life should be. I think that's what business should be. And I believe that's what you wrote about in your book.
That totally is what I wrote about in the book. And I love that you said that. And I am very connected with myself, right? I'm very connected with my husband. We both know we want an exceptional relationship, and nothing will stand, in the way of that. So we both always grow. We want to give value to people. We want to give back to our community. We want to really to be really an example of what an exceptional relationship is. And we work hard at it, right? Because again, it doesn't just come like that. We are both two people and two extreme different people, but we also have to connect with our past, right? It's not just connecting with our future. We have to connect with who we were and what story did we bring with us, and let go of this story. So we did major work on ourselves to be able to be completely present. This is why I'm able to dance with people the way I dance. Some of the things that they say, they're like, oh my gosh, there is an embrace about you. There is a connection about you, because I am fully present and I am not thinking of who am I going to dance next? What is the next thing is going to happen? Like right now, Stephana, I am fully present with you. I am not thinking nothing. My notifications are closed. My phone is not even close to me. My laptop is closed, because there is something to be said. Then I connect with me and with you so much more if I am just in this moment.
Yes, I love that. I love that. That's the parallel that we have. While I don't necessarily teach speaking, but the piece around being fully present, you don't have to worry about what to say. And I came from an acting background. So one of the things that we would do when I studied theater at the Neighborhood Playhouse and Playhouse West, the concept was to be fully present in the moment, living truthfully in that moment. And in that moment just happened to be an imaginary circumstance, right? But the moment you were living so fully and fully present. And then as an actor who would be trained in that, you'd have all your words done. The words were there. So, but they would ride on the river of these emotions and these feelings and movement. And so it's really beautiful. Similar in that now, of course, Argentine tango is can be choreographed, but there, as you're saying, it's mostly improvisation.
It is
And
all.
in improvisation, that makes me think of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think of being able to find the possibility in things.
Oh,
So
yes. Oh my gosh. Like the possibility when you're in a very crowded floor, the leader has to find the possibilities. That way he can protect his partner and continue to move with
but he's not necessarily looking for the in or the out.
No,
What's he doing? What's he doing?
he's
Or what are
really,
they doing?
he's looking for the space. He's looking to maintain a distance between this couple, him and his partner, and
So
the
what
next couple.
tools does he use?
Well, observation, number one.
Mhm.
Intuition, number two. connection to the rest of the floor, and connection to the music. Because if he's connected to the music, sometimes he realizes that he can just dance right there without really moving.
So these are 3 skills that I want to just repeat, because anyone watching this, and for myself included, and any business owner, I don't care what level you're at: observation, intuition, connection. And those are actually skills. They're not necessarily, we're not necessarily born with them. And I think we're so taught not to observe, not to look, not to tune in, to be connected to ourselves. We're, taught something outside of ourselves. But everything you're talking about is so intrinsic. It is so beautifully something that's cultivated within.
Right.
Again,
because you see, I didn't say technique, right? I didn't say, when you asked me, I did not say technique. And he has the technique. The technique is irrelevant, truly, at some point.
Yes. Okay, so this is really cool, because again, I just want to mention your book. Say the name of it. It just came out. I do have a copy of it, but I was reading, I was going to try and grab it so I could show everybody, but
I have it here. Do you want me to grab it?
Let's grab it because it's
okay, all right.
And then I'll look at your beautiful photos on the back there.
I have it right here in my bookshelf. So
it's such a beautiful book. So, and it's interesting because when I started reading it, the stories are so beautiful. I felt like I was right there. I felt like I was part of, it's beautiful. So I highly recommend the book. Totally grab the book. And would they get it at your website? Where do you want them to go to find you?
So they can go to katiarave.com/book.
Okay, fantastic. So just spell that out just in case when you send it to the podcast.
Thank you. I forget sometimes. It's Katia, Katia, Rave, RAVE.com, and then /book.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
No, thank
you.
I
don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Now, I just have 2 more questions if you're willing to answer these.
I would.
I just am so inspired by you.
Thank you.
You embody the presence and the grace. And I think I think there's something to be said about that when you can step into that. This is what I call being able to tap into your inner powerhouse, your presence, your grace. All of this is synonymous with your powerhouse. So you are a powerhouse leader, and I'm so grateful that you've spent your time here with us. So what I was going to ask you about is, if you you mentioned the early mistake, well, you didn't know it was going to be a mistake, but you mentioned that.
No, but they are, and I want to call them for what it is, because so often we try to find excuses. We're like, well, they were not really it was a mistake on my part.
Can you share with us that early mistake? And as a result, now you gave us the picture afterwards, and I do want to point out, it sounded like you did do a debrief with the coach and you unraveled some things. But what was that early mistake that had you crashing?
Right. And the mistake was my avatar had changed. As a hairdresser, my avatar was someone, I was in need. My job was a need. So what I was giving to my avatar was really something that they needed. Okay. As the spa, I became a luxury. My avatar had changed. My ideal client was very different. And that's a silly little mistake. And this is one of the things that I see.
You did not know at the time that there were 2 different people or 2 different ways of marketing?
No. Completely. Someone then you want to target for facial and massage and pedicure and manicure are not really someone for hair. Someone needs their haircut.
Right.
I don't always need a massage or a facial. That's more a
We do.
luxury. We do,
Oh,
but we do. I mean, we do. I agree. Then we do, but in the in the marketplace, it is definitely viewed as a luxury. This is not something then who's a need in most household. And I had not. I thought I knew everything about business, right? Because I was talented, and my business previously was successful, and my parents were in business, and I knew it all. And I did not want to get a coach because I knew what I was doing.
well, you
And
didn't know what you didn't know. And I
that's
really
right.
appreciate that you just said what you said, because I think that, I know for me, it has just taken a lot of pressure off of a couple of things that I've been struggling with. When you just said that, that subtle, I mean, it's so subtle.
Yes,
It's such a subtle piece, and yet it's everything.
everything.
And we can't overlook the subtleties.
No.
I think of this because I do dance, and because you can't overlook these subtle moments where you second guess yourself, and in those moments your foot gets trampled, and then you go, then it's all over because you don't have that rhythm anymore. And this is so beautiful. I really encourage everyone to read Katia's book. It is beautiful. It's so well
Thank
written.
you.
There's I learn by stories.
Yes.
So because you shared it in such a way of the story, I got so much out of it. And I think that the audience, that your readers will love this and
Thank you.
find a way to relax into this. I know I get really excited about some things, and I would like to leave with this. And what would you suggest? Because you've clearly come from a level of, you've had a lot of learning and a lot of growth and experience in different areas. And then you've got a whole other perspective that allows you to see things in such a beautiful way with the dance. And I like to say, I mean, you're a master. You're a master now. So from the viewpoint of a master and seeing this whole tapestry put together, what would you say for someone newer to business that they could do? And yes, of course, hiring a coach, no question, and get Katia's book. And if you need the work with looking and feeling your best, come to me. But the biggest piece that you could see for somebody in the tapestry of moving and connection and observation and using the intuition, what would the best advice you could give be for the up and coming, or for the newer leader?
I think it would be to stop looking at people as opportunities and to look at people for what they are, humans.
Mm.
Because for me, when people come on a sales calls, I just look at them as, who am I playing in the sandbox with? That person was a little child, that person was a little boy, that person was a little girl. And whether their facial expression are harsh or all that, it's their stuff. This is not a reflection of me. It's, they bring their history, they bring their culture, they bring the way they were raised, they bring their problems. And I think too often business owners, when they start, they just want to sell, right? They're like, okay, I have my package, I have my this, and I'm gonna, and me, and I, and me, and I. And if we were looking at more collaboration, if we were looking at less opportunity, but more, how do we collaborate with each other? We would realize that a lot of people have problems and a lot of people have solutions. And how can we help to match these people? When we look at the world like that, like an engrenage, I don't know the word in English. It's like in a watch, you have these little steps. And if we all were all together in this wheel, in French, it's an engrenage. And if we were all working together,
It
There is-
sounds beautiful the way you said it, but it's cogwheel. It would say cogwheel.
correct.
Yes. And I would say harmonious. We'd have so
Yes.
much more
Yes.
harmony.
Yes, there is no competition. There
Exactly.
are 10,000 business coach out there, and I never feel like I'm in competition. We are all so different. We all bring different gifts to the table. We all bring our different stories. We all bring our different background. We all bring, for me, I bring my integrity. I bring my core values. I bring my connection. I bring what I want. I bring then I want the success for my client, and I won't let them fall through the crack. And there's nobody else like me, right? There is no other Katia who has the same accent, who has the same red glasses. And in all of that, we are all so unique. And when we are unique in our gift, we are unique into what we do, into what we give, and how we serve.
Yes. I think that is an absolute gorgeous lesson in all areas of life as well as business. And it removes a lot of the scarcity, the fear and the scarcity that is perpetuated on the general population. To try and get someone to buy something, you first need to make them think that there's something wrong with them to need it. And instead, when you come from that place and inviting them onto the dance floor, would you like to dance? Would you like to collaborate? Would you like
It's
to
an invitation?
how we can expand into this energy? That is so fulfilling, so rewarding. Yes, that's how I can get up in the morning and go to bed at night full in my heart. And I'm so grateful, incredibly grateful. And I know I hope to see you again soon, but I know you have another book coming out.
Yes.
There's so much happening in your world. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. And again, how can people reach you?
On social media at Katia, Katia Rave, Rave. Or right now I have a summit. So I have a huge conference that I'm putting together on how can people be using their business with speaking. So they can go, so they can go to moneyandspeakingunleashed.com. It's totally free. And I have 24 amazing speakers. So it's moneyandspeakingunleashed.com. Totally free, and they'll get so many tips, so many strategies from people who are truly like me, right? The same RAM, we all attract each other. At one point today, you say it's important to have a good surrounding, and who do you surround yourself with? And those people are that. So they are fully giving, so they can, they can register, and then, and then they'll hear from me after that.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. What a true pleasure for me to be on your show, Stephana.
It's all my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks.